go! Yes, everybody, we are back with some more Kagurabachi content. Give me one more. Yes, we are here. And so for today's video, I kind of wanted to just look at the overall structure of Kagurabachi and where I think it's going and what more I would like to see from the series. I apologize for the lack of a chapter review for this past chapter. I technically could still do it before this upcoming Sunday, but I kind of wasn't really feeling this past chapter. I still enjoy it. I still like it. There's still good things about it, but I feel like we're still kind of in a transitional phase. I feel like things are still a bit slow at this current moment, which is weird because this past chapter is very action-packed, but we still are getting to know the Masumi members as well as Kaguri, as well as the other Hishaku member, the young woman. So we're just a lot of new players that we really don't know about, so I'm not as emotionally invested in anyone currently besides Chihiro and Samura. Obviously, it's going to be changed with time, but chapter 59 with Samura's betrayal was easily my favorite chapter of Kagurabachi within the past 20 or so chapters. One of them, anyway. But as far as the direction of Kagurabachi and where it's going, I think that Hokazono will deliver, but the general plot so far is very simple, but he's actually made it very intricate and interesting to follow along so far. We all know that the main objective is to get the blades back before the Hishaku get them and ultimately stop the Hishaku. Bad guys, good guys, but then you have obviously people like Samura and then the blade wielders who were good guys, but they're kind of bad guys. You see, we've seen some of this kind of stuff before. War is terrible, war is awful, and the good guys end up having to do something terrible to ultimately save the day. So as far as what that exactly is, we kind of guess already there's something involving violation of human rights or just war crimes of a certain flavor. But there's a lot riding on this Seitei War flashback, man. The thing is that this Seitei War flashback is not to people's liking. This series will go downhill very, very, very fast. A lot of information is lying within the Seitei War flashback. We have the relationship that the blade wielders hold with Kunishige. We have Uraha and Samura's entire relationship that is on a line with this flashback. We know that they were both master and student, and it looks like Kaguri also holds the EI sword style as well. So is he gonna be the flashback? I have no idea. Who is this enemy that the blade wielders had to take care of for Japan? Are they still around? Is it actually the country of the US like people have speculated? There's a lot going on here. And so I'm scared that if the Seitei War flashback doesn't provide some of these answers and do it in a non-predictable fashion, I'm scared for the future of the series. The crux of this ultimately is going to be how Kunishige is going to be portrayed in this. We know that he was obviously very goofy as Chihiro's dad. He was very aloof, but whenever it came to the blades, it's almost like his personality just shifted. And he almost talked like a whole other person. And one of the first frames we see of Kunishige when Chihiro was talking about him, is have that beautiful frame of Kunishige's silhouette and everything around him feels lighter, and he feels like this you have this overwhelming presence presented on the page. So we need to see the effects of how the Seitei War impacted Kunishige's psyche and what he felt was necessary to create the blades in the first place. Now, it's been stated multiple times at this point that Kagurabachi isn't going to do anything like aliens. I hope it doesn't do anything like demons. I feel like that's just a very easy cop-out. I mean, Kiyoshi is already in Shonen Jump's lineup right now, and I believe they have another demon exorcist manga lineup in there somewhere. And Nue's Exorcist is still going on as well. So we don't need another demon exorcism manga. That's not what it is. I mean, Blue Exorcist is coming back, for God's sake. But whenever it comes to human antagonists, it makes them a lot more relatable because we see evil people in real life all the time, so we're able to identify our own feelings towards them much easier than, say, an alien or a demon. So I'm a bit nervous for the Seitei War flashback. As far as what I want from Samura, again, I would like Samura to be confronted with his ideals directly, and I would like him to stand on it, similar to Kiora. I don't know if I want Samura necessarily to change. I kind of want Samura to just stand on business like he has been this entire time. If Samura truly thinks that the blade wielders deserve death for what they did, I think a redemption I don't think it would do service to his character, man. We saw with Kiora did horrible things, was extremely abusive to his children, but he still believed in the Rakuzaichi and what he was doing until the very end, because if it's not, then what else was his life worth? He sacrificed his relationship with his wife, with his children, all for what? the Rakuzaichi, the name of the Sazanami family. If that isn't worth anything, then his life meant nothing.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself.
So he, even in death, he never apologized. I think that was fantastically done. Because ordinarily a villain like that would be like, oh, I'm so sorry, or they begin to repent. I don't want that for Samura. Because I feel like if Samura were to try to repent and try to redeem himself, that'll make his actions sting much less as an audience member. Also, I don't want Udaha to come back, and if we do, we have some very severe consequences. I'm pretty sure he's dead. I don't think that we're pulling a you-know-who from Jujutsu Kaisen, but I digress. As far as what I want from Chihiro is a very interesting case. I feel like Chihiro is in a very transitional period as well, where Chihiro, with the Masumi's help, he's understanding that I don't have to do all this by myself. He kind of got some of this from Hakuri, depending on another person, but he was more so focused on building Hakuri up rather than relying on another person. It wasn't about Chihiro himself, it was about Hakuri. But the Masumi are like, with everything that's going on in these past couple months, you're gonna drive yourself to an early grave. Lighten your load, have people help you. It's okay, that's what we're here for. And one of the biggest things that Chihiro is dealing with currently, and we see the scars physically on his body, but one of the biggest things is he is dealing with this self-worth. Chihiro doesn't see himself as a good person. He sees himself just like the monsters he cuts down daily because killing is abhorrent in his eyes, but he still does it because these people need to be taken out. I mean, he's killed murderers, human traffickers, the lowest of the low that you can possibly imagine, and he still feels that way, even though we know through and through that Chihiro is ultimately a good person. We see with his treatment with Char, we see how he helped Hakuri, how he lambasted Kiora and saying that you should have put your faith in your own son beforehand, how he was absolutely mortified at Tenri's death because Tenri's own father sacrificed him for a door that was broken just so he could get an advantage on his enemies. Chihiro's a good kid. He doesn't deserve any of this. I mean, we see his reaction when Samura betrayed everybody and killed Udaha, and Chihiro was literally losing his mind. He could not handle it. Literally screaming his lungs out at Samura, I'll do it, I'll kill you, I can do it. Trying to convince himself, because ultimately he doesn't want to. This is one of his heroes that he idolized for years at this point. But I want Chihiro to heal. I do, and I feel like that's gonna be a very poignant part of the manga. Most likely near the end, where Chihiro gets his facial scar healed, and maybe some of these other scars that he got from his battle with Hirohiko as well. And he ultimately is, you know what? He may say something along the lines of, I'm okay, which I feel could be very in line with Chihiro's character. Not I'm doing great, I'm doing well. I think when he finally is just, I'm okay, or I'm getting better. I want these emotional scars to heal for Chihiro, because obviously what happened to that day that he lost his father was very tragic. Nobody should have to go through anything like that. But this quest of revenge, like they said, this is a surefire way to get yourself killed. We're dealing with entities that are multiple times over stronger than anything Chihiro has got. I mean, Samura, we don't know what the other blade wielders can do. I mean, literally in that fucking flashback, there was like a sonic boom going off in the sky, dude. And Enten's just a baby compared to all these other blades. We don't know what they could do. There was like chains and shit. I don't know what was going on, but these niggas had to have been fighting the Avengers or some crazy shit. Now, ultimately, I do also want Kagurabachi to go more so into its power system as well, because not just the Enchanted Blades, but I want to go more into sorcery itself as well. Now, we have the Sazanami family, which I think was also a good addition, but things like Hiyuki's Flame Bone. Flame Bone has the power of an Enchanted Blade, but where does Flame Bone come from? We know it summons some sort of deity, or entity rather, but we don't know if this thing is sentient. We don't know if this had to be tamed like a Shikigami from Jujutsu Kaisen. We don't know. I would like to know some of these things. I want to see more of Hiyuki. I want to see more of Tafka. I want to see more Hanao. Hanao, I think she's just gonna, she's gonna be on the side. She's basically gonna be like the Ichiraku ramen guy from Naruto at this point. But I mean, she doesn't have any sorcery or anything like that. She has information, which is cool, so I hope they do double back on that. But I like her character design. I like Hanao as a character. I think she's cool. I do really love Sojo's inclusion to the story even to this day. Sojo's consistently being mentioned. I mean, he had his own little quote-unquote filler chapter a couple chapters ago when Hokazono was on a break. But I love the fact that he has a residual effect throughout this manga. Everything feels very permanent. Everything feels very connected and concrete. I like it a lot. I want to know more about the Hishaku. The Hishaku, to me, it's very easy to have an evil organization want to take over the world and all that. And sometimes it is good to just have a villain that wants to do bad. Fuck it. Hey, I'm Sukuna. I mean, he didn't really necessarily see himself as evil. He was just, I've talked about his hunger, right? That was never satiated. I've talked about that. But I want to know about John. No one calls him John Hishaku anymore. I want to know more about Yuna. I do. He has the appearance of, to me, the devil, right? He has the suit. He looks human, but there's something off. And we have the piercings and his eyes. It's just it feels like he's trying to seduce you almost. But I want to see what John can do. I want to see what his sorcery can do. Now I believe his appearance has something to do with his sorcery because he makes a pinky promise with Samura, and it ultimately is a deal that they made. So he reminds me of the yellow-eyed demon from Supernatural. But what prompted John to make the Hishaku? Is John even the original leader of the Hishaku? We don't know. As far as the length of the actual Seitei War itself, I would be comfortable with it being around possibly 9 to maybe even like 12 to 14 chapters. I would not mind it. Yeah, it would feel like a bit of a drag when it came to it monthly, but we've had prequel arcs many times in manga before. I mean, how long was the Nagato flashback in the manga? I mean, that was like 4-ish off the top of my head. I have that volume upstairs. I need to go read that. And hidden inventory was double that, I believe. So I don't know. We'll see. I have high hopes for Kagurabachi, and inevitably when the anime hits, most likely around 2026 to 2027, probably late 2026 if I had to make an estimate. I think we're at a good space to be ahead of it. I mean, at that point we'll be at 80 to 90 plus chapters ahead of the anime, so I think we'll be in good spirits. But yeah, let me know down in the comments below where you guys would like Kagurabachi to go, and where do you think we're gonna head with the direction of it. I'm cautiously optimistic because some things have been predictable, some things haven't. But we need to know more. There's some groundwork that still needs to be laid, and I hope that Hokazono takes his time when he tells the story. But yeah, it's me, your boy Daffy, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Please make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next episode. Now make sure you take care of yourselves, guys, and have a damn good one. Peace.